Christ was going in the synagogues on the Sabbath, and the pagans the next day was worshiping the sun on Sundays. So if I go into the Bible and it says, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy, and I know that the Sabbath is from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, and I see some European spin on the Bible, and they come and teach us through slavery, we must worship on the day they was worshiping, which was Sunday, the pagans, Satan. You understand? That's why Christ said, ye that believe on me as the scripture have said. Many people believe on him, but how many believe on him as the scripture have said? Exactly. Another thing, Christ says, many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. So what was Christ? He was actually tipping us off to where Satan will be operating. The many that's coming in Christ's name are Christians. There's no other religion in the earth with Christ's name in it. Where it is? Where is it? The many is Christians. How do you know that? Which one of the disciples, or with Christ and the disciples after Christ died and resurrected, which one of them started Jehovah's Witnesses? Which one of the disciples started the Baptist Church? Which one of the disciples? Now he built this rock on Peter. Which one of the disciples came up with the Mormon belief? I need you to go to the third floor and get my Mormon book real quick. You'll see where my book's at on the library on the third floor. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Which one of the disciples came up with the Protestant church? Which one? That's why it says many. It's a bunch of confusion. If everyone was following Christ, it would be one church. So they destroyed. I'm going to tell you why they made these churches. Because they knew, according to prophecy, the chosen people were going into captivity. And to tell you in Revelation, the 12th chapter, that a flood had to come to try to destroy the woman that bare the man-child. Who was the woman that bare the man-child? Israel. That flood is the lies that came from the Roman Catholic Church to confuse us so that we can never get back to the point we were before we fell. So religion was set up as a trap or a snare to deceive the elect. Who get caught up in religion more than us? When I look at Chinese people, all of them are Buddhist. They can set up one church, everybody, now you may have your few stragglers, but when you look at it from a nation standpoint, they all believe the same thing. When you go over to the Middle East, Arabs are Muslims. Who's up in everything? God's people. The chosen. So they made this flood to take us off. Not to take the nations off, because the nations always dealt with other gods. Huh? Let me grab it real quick, because I need this Mormon's book. Hold 1 second for me, brother. I know exactly where it is. I'm going to show you another level of deception. Okay. In the late 1800s, they found out that the Indian tribes, based on customs, and they spoke the Hebrew language, and there was Hebrew in the North American Indians' relics and in their grave sites. They found out that they were from the tribe of Gad. Right? They found out that, hold up, the Indians didn't come through the Bering Strait. These particular people that's over here came from the children of Israel. They had the fringes, the borders of blue, the way they did, the way they act in warfare. Everything they did showed that they were the children of Israel. It was one European that went back over in Europe and said, you know what? I think we found the 10 lost tribes that came over the waters. Right? And this is the late 1800s. Instead of the Catholic Church publicizing the fact that there was proof that the North American Indians were in fact the children of Israel, they sanctioned what you would call a Mason, called Joseph Smith. And they set him up as the father of the Mormon church. All right? What he did, he came up with the Book of Mormon out of the North American Indians' tablets.
Really?
Yes. He found golden tablets from the North American Indians, took them, right, and put his own information in it. Now, the tablets were pure the way they were. And it proved, even the Mormons know that the North American Indians are from the tribe of Israel. It tells you that in the book. But, what they do, the Europeans, including Joseph Smith, injected himself as one of the tribes. And then he said that the black people had the curse of Cain on them. In the book.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was so much confusion. Then they started going into this interplanetary thing where they come from a planet that Joseph Smith's seed comes from a planet far off in many galaxies, and they were all white and Aryan, and they came up with all these different mystical stories, right? To the point where people say, this guy's out of his mind. But was he out of his mind? No. What did he do? He took the attention off the North American Indians being the children of Israel, and it went into this story that was so off the wall that they had to discredit everything he put in the book, including the fact that the Indians are the Israelites. So these guys are diabolical. They come up with plans. They say, okay, the information is out, but let's see if we can smear it. So if people look at it like, oh, that's the Mormons, oh, that's that crazy guy, Joseph Smith. When really, they made the Mormon belief to cover the fact that the Europeans found out that the North American Indians were from the tribe of Israel. And then, here he is right here. He was a Mason, a blood drinker, Satanist. Okay? Then, on top of that, what did he do? This is one thing they all do to let you know they're together. Even if they can call themselves Mormon, Catholic, Protestants, they always have their buddy right here. Cesar Borgia, the second son of Alexander, the sixth Pope of Rome. Here he is. So they can call themselves Mormon, Protestants, all of them have one thing in common. Keep the children of Israel from ever figuring out that they are the people. So they got us in Christianity with this guy, and they got us in Judaism with the Jewish people, when all these people are the same. They're all Caucasians. How can they be everybody? How can they be the Jews, the Romans, the Greeks, the Israelites? How can they be everyone in their one family? So we found out. So now the cat is out of the bag. There's a problem. One world order. You're going to find out that one world order is against us. And our people are going to die at a number, at a rate that we have never seen since the inception of this earth. It's about to happen. And only a remnant is going to make it through. And we're here to prepare because they know us now. They know we are here. They know that the people that would teach the truth, that would put their life on the line for the truth, is here. And if they get rid of one, the Holy Spirit is just going to keep moving until that elect is sealed. They can't stop it. So now it's pure extermination. Arthur Koestler. Now I don't know this guy. This guy is not out of my family. Okay? They had to hide this guy for 4 years.
Your entry is not valid.
They had to hide him for 4 years. He was a historian that was highly accredited in the Jewish community. Okay? A Jewish guy, Arthur Koestler. He was appalled. He went into history and he was appalled when he found out that the real Jews were us. And he was appalled at the trickery that's used by the Jewish people to keep this information suppressed from the chosen. And he didn't want to die with this on his heart. So what did he do? He came out with a book. Arthur Koestler. He said, listen, in order for those Jews to be the real Jews, there must have been a 13th tribe. And we know there's only 12. And he gives the history of exactly where his people came from. They came from Russia, the Khazar Empire. They from the mountains. That they were not the Jews that were in the land in ancient Israel. They're not the people. And he breaks it down. And then he goes into the fact that the real Jews should be living in ghettos right now, according to the Bible. That they're living in ghettos because they're the impoverished people that went against their God, and they're serving the punishments for going against their God. He got it in the book. You know what they did with this dude? They threatened to kill him. He was in exile for 4 years. They had to smuggle him out of the country. And the Jewish people have infiltrated us. Anytime there was a great liberation or a great movement, because they know that the liberation would come through Judah first. Because when Judah rises up, everyone rises up. So they watched us carefully. So what they did was they befriended us. They befriended us, and they funded everything that we wanted in this earth. They funded it so that they can have a hand in it. When we came together in the civil rights movement in the 60s, they funded the NAACP so that they can control the information that was coming through the NAACP. And so that if these Negroes ever sit down and figure out who they were, they'll know.
They were controlling the slavery back in the day.
Absolutely.
I mean, more honestly.
But they did it with the knowledge of who we were.
Okay.
You know, if you're claiming to be somebody and you know you're not the people, you're going to stay close to the people. You have to stay right there. So even in the music business or in Hollywood, anything, we bring all the spirit and talent. They bring the money, so they can control the spirit and the talent. Okay. But now the gig is up. We know who they are. We have their history. We know what family they came out of. And we know that they are not the Jews. They don't even have the spirit of the Jews, okay? Jews have flavor. All right? And the Lord says we are the salt of the earth. You take us out of the earth, this thing will be like Russia, man. Okay? Now, let's go into it. And I don't hear nothing coming out of Russia. We're the salt of the earth. And that's not boasting, that's the truth. Alright? And that's the truth. And see, we're not saying this to boast because in order for the whole earth, in order for the world to get right, the people of the earth, the people that the Most High chose must be in charge. A few scriptures now. I'm going to go over because I started late. If y'all have to go, y'all can go, but I'm going till I'm finished. We're going into the Nephilim. Well, we're going into hell right now. Going into the teaching on hell. Get Proverbs 29. I want to read this to show you why the whole earth is jacked up right now. Let me tell you, even the animals are crying out that we come back to who we are. The whole earth, the whole planet have been suffering since we fell. And it's our time. Proverbs 29:2, read that.
Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Everyone is happy when someone righteous is ruling. Read.
But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn.
But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Look at the state of the earth. How can you say it's God's people running the earth right now? We're mourning. This earth is in a state of mourning. The water's mourning. The earth, the air is mourning. The animals are mourning. The insects. Why? They're looking for us. Okay, it's no secret that this whole earth suppresses certain people in this earth.
They've been doing that with us for the longest.
For the longest, brother.
We came over the Atlantic Ocean, okay? Here we are in the cabinets and don't give any books for them to read. It's against the law for them to read it, okay, to educate themselves. Sure, I've dealt with depression, the drugs in the ghettos, and putting all kinds of negativity in the ghettos. let's keep them down. Yeah, what's that? So yeah, carry on.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
And I'm going to tell you how wicked and diabolical they can be. They financed and set up the drug cartels in Mexico
Right.
to allow the drugs to come into our neighborhoods when they seen us coming together.
Right.
They didn't want the Black Panthers and the nonviolent movement and the Muslim black movement to come together. They was afraid if we put this together, that's an army. All right? So they paid the drug cartels, which are Issachar's, our own brothers. They paid them top dollar to funnel the drugs, to farm the drugs, and they allow the drugs to come over to destroy our spiritual movement. And then, I'm going to show you how slick they are. Now that they have accomplished destroying us morally and tore us down and tore our neighborhoods down, look what they're doing now. They're blaming everything on the drug cartels in Mexico they set up. Really, what they were doing, they was putting one tribe against another tribe. They were starting a war on both sides, and now they're just sitting back looking, and they fund both sides. Now everything is Mexico's fault. Oh, we have to cut off the borders because of the drug cartels leaking over the borders. Come on, man. How long the drug cartels been fighting each other? Y'all don't care about that. Y'all want to kill everybody now. So we have to stop first. We have to stop killing each other. And this is not a slogan. It's the truth. We have to stop. Anything with their hands in it, we have to stop. All right? Something came into my mind when I was driving. When we couldn't get into the building, we came here. It came into my mind that I was looking at all the stores and all the things that's set up in our neighborhoods. Don't forget, 60% of the finances that are spent in America that's consumed come from us. They come from the poor. The Indian, the Puerto Rican, the black, the Israelites actually make this economy go. And I was checking out all the different minority stores from people that were not a part of the civil rights. They come over here and get minority rights to set up stores. And they didn't die in our country. Right? I'm looking at the Asians and all these other people. I'm like, man, look at this. I'm like,
they'll get along before our own people will get along.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I tell you,
and then set them up right in the ghettos.
I'll say exactly. So
look at in the ghetto. What do you see? Liquor store on top of liquor store on top of liquor store. Drugs. Every door.
I'll tell you what, brother. If brothers had enough sense, brothers can change this thing overnight.
If the brothers unite and one.
But they have to unite with an idea. You understand? People have been trying to unite, but they have to unite with a common idea. I was thinking, man, if everyone got together, like in a 4-block radius, you have block captains or what have you, and say, listen, we're going to get together and we're going to form an alliance, a spiritual alliance, where we don't support any stores financially that's outside of our community. That means somebody within the 4-block radius must own every store within our 4-block radius.
It's not valid.
We can easily put the other stores out of business. Just don't go to them. Let's stop going to them. Let's go to somebody and say, well, what you want to do? And let's put our money into that person and start their business. And it'll be the same business we just discontinued going to with an Asian. And we could do this all around the board and say, listen, we're not spending no money outside of ourselves. I'm just putting a few things out there to say, listen, we can think within ourselves. We don't got to spend money for fried chicken and collard greens to an Asian. Who can make fried chickens and collard greens better than us, man? You understand? So if we just got together and say, listen, let's stop going to people and marching and doing all this and say, let's come together and start with our monetary consumption. Our monetary, the way we spend. We'll shut everybody down. And then we can talk about policing ourselves through our houses. Everyone know in their house who, who's the drug dealer, who's this, who's that. We can cut them off, man. These are things that can happen if we come together in the spirit. Okay? I'm just throwing some things out there because we have to start thinking as a nation, the way we thought and the way we operated before we were brought here in captivity.
We were brought here in captivity. Now, let me just say one other piece.
Go ahead.
We were brought here in captivity, right? Now, you had the Negroes working out in the fields, but you also had the Negroes working in the house. Now, quite obviously, what's going to go down is nothing but jealousy right there and then. That was instilled into the black man, was jealousy. He's envious, he's jealous of that man in the house where that he should be out there in the field. And it just has gone on, it has festered into generations. That's one reason why we don't get along with each other right now. Because it's jealousy and envy.
Well, it's the old Willie Lynch syndrome, to pit one against the other.
Mm-hmm.
And see, another thing they did, which was wicked, during the time of our spiritual liberation, when the Lord was waking us up, like in the 60s and 70s, they let they let these wicked criminals out of jail and set them up with finances and everything to kill our people with heroin. They just let these criminals, these hardened criminals, out of jail. They say, listen, we're going to set you up. So you're going to always find some people amongst us that will be willing to kill their own people. That's just inherent in our nation now. Okay? It wasn't the Romans that wanted Christ dead. It was his own people, the Pharisees and scribes, through jealousy, the same thing you're mentioning now. So until we come together and realize if we all don't have it, then none of us have it. You understand? We should be willing to struggle together. We should be willing to rejoice together, mourn together. But as long as we're together, instead of letting these people divide us through ideology, through religion, you understand? We have to realize these people that we're dealing with, the spirit we're dealing with. Man, listen, man. You have corporations. You have people in corporations that will hate each other. But they will come together in a board meeting to make sure the company runs. Because they see the common cause. They see the overall cause is deeper than their personal vendetta against another person. We can work that out later. But the company must stand. We don't have that mentality. We have a crab in the bucket mentality, where none of us have anything, and we're just beating each other up for crumbs. Exactly. So we should have it where, listen, brother, even if me and you don't agree with the same thing, let's agree with living so they don't kill us. Is that good? Let's start there. Let's agree that we can work together to survive, because we're moving into survival mode now. All this little bickering and all that, it's going to get people killed. It's time for people to put their petty differences to the side and realize there's a battle we must fight together, and it's deeper than our small differences. Get Matthew 12. I don't want to go off the beaten path, man. I'm off it, but I'm going into the Nephilim. But I want to break this down real quick. Matthew 12 and 25. Read that for me.
Matthew 12 and 25. And Yeshua knew their thoughts, and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation.
Read that again. Every what?
Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation.
See, they know this. Listen, Satan knows the words of Christ. Every kingdom what? Read it again.
Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation.
Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. That's what Christ said. He was letting us know, in order to survive, we can't be divided. So what did Satan do? He divided us. Through skin color, through gender, all these different groups. I'm like, look at all these groups. He has power through division. Division, you can pit one against the other. That's why there's so many groups in America. This group and that group and this group and that group. Light skin, dark skin, tall, short, thin, fat. You understand? So we cannot survive if we divide it. Read.
Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation.
Go ahead.
And every city or house divided against itself shall not stand.
Every city that's divided against itself will not stand. Because instead of you building the city together, they're sitting back funding you tearing down your own city. It makes me sick. Even on a low level, it makes me sick when I see how they do this. They'll take a perfectly good neighborhood and they won't put a dime into the neighborhood and let it run down and put drugs and everything and let the value run down, right? And when the value gets so low and the taxes get so low in the neighborhood, they'll come through and buy everything up that's ran down for pennies on a dollar, right? And once they do it, they'll put some fancy name over it, raise the taxes, and all of you have to move out of the place. Brewery town. They do it every place. But the first thing they do, yeah, they watch you for about 10 years knowing the end result. So they be looking 10, 20 years down the line. Let's put the drugs in. Let's put the guns in. Let's send somebody through there and pop open trunks and sell guns to them. Publicize it all over the earth that they're killing each other, that they're just degenerates. You understand? And then let's lower the property value. They can't afford to be there the way it is anyway. Then we'll make it seem like we're saving them by coming in and making this place a beautiful place, but yet now they can't afford to be there. Don't worry about it, because we already have a place for you. Coffins. Yeah. There it is. FEMA camps. Don't worry about it. Rent free. That's what's coming. Notice in all your neighborhoods, you have visitors. Okay? And you didn't invite these visitors in your neighborhood. Okay? You have visitors, folks. Okay? And this is how they do it. It'll be, the neighborhood will be slummed down, right? And they'll send in the dreadlock Europeans on skateboards, the college kids. They'll be the first guys showing up riding bikes and skateboards. Being cool with everyone. They're the first guys. Okay, if they survive a month, we know we can start sending some white collars down there. They'll put those guys up in the house for a little bit and they'll survive. Next thing you know, they'll put some fancy name on it. They'll move you out somewhere, like to make the property value in a place where they have concentration camps like Georgia. Let's make the value real low in Georgia, so that when the time comes, we can round them all up in Georgia. At one time, Georgia was the black capital. You thought y'all planned that, right? No, they just needed you to be all in one place to be rounded up. Wake up, folks. Let's go into this Bible. A nation divided against itself cannot stand. We went into the Nephilim. You got it? Okay. We went into the Nephilim this Friday. The Nephilim, for those that wasn't here, were the giants that came from angels and women. Okay, it was before the flood. The Most High had to flood the earth because angels came and slept with women. Who didn't know that before I just said it? Sis, you didn't know that? Go to Genesis 1 and 6. Let's get it.
Was Nimrod one?
Yes, he was. He was the son of a Nephilim. He was worshipped as a god. Genesis 1 and 6. Genesis 6 and 1. Read that.
Genesis 6 and 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters of men were born, and daughters were born unto them.
Daughters was born unto them. Read on.
That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair.
So the sons of God, which are the angels, saw the daughters of men that they were fair. So they looked down on women before the flood. Read. They chose. All right. These are watchers. They were set down to watch man. They were sent to watch mankind, but in turn, they end up sleeping with women. And you're going to see what proceeded out of these women. Read.
Verse 3. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years.
Okay, so the Lord shut down the man's life expectancy. Before this, a man like Methuselah lived almost 1,000 years. The normal life expectancy for mankind was 1,000 years. Yeah. Even Adam, all the children of Adam lived up. You see them live 500 years, 700 years. The highest life expectancy before the flood was near 1,000 years. He cut mankind's life down to 120 years because of the technology they learned from the angels. There's no way man could have survived with the wickedness that was taught. So we had to cut life expectancy for mankind. Read.
Verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days.
And you see, before the sons of God came and slept with women, there were no giants. So what proceeded out of them? There were what?
There were giants in the earth in those days.
Go ahead.
And also after that.
And also after that, to let you know that the giants came in the earth after the flood also. Goliath was one of them. We went over that last Wednesday. Okay? Goliath. We found that they fled into near the Gaza Strip. Under the Gaza Strip, there's caves and caverns they call Goth, G-A-T-H. This is where they lived from mankind. All the wars you've seen fought in the Old Testament with great bloodshed was our people fighting against that seed of Satan that came into the earth. And they are the ones that are ruling the earth today. They're given the technology and the ingenuity and the blueprint of Satan to mankind. To Esau primarily. Read.
When the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them.
They did what?
And they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which are of old, men of renown.
Men of renown, the Titans. T-I-T-A-N-S. The Titans. In Greek mythology, all that what you see is not mythology. It happened before the flood. Okay? Now I'm going to show you what happened to those angels. Then we're going to go into the annotated Apocrypha to show you, to go into why the Most High had to create hell. The annotated Apocrypha is the Apocrypha in English language. Okay? And in pure English language. The Apocrypha is part of the Bible. Let me see here. See if I have one with me. I have a King James Version Bible right here. 1611. Okay? It's an original reprint from the original 1611 edition. Okay? And as you can see, it is an original reprint from the original Bible that was printed. To the Most High and Mighty Prince James, by the grace of the Most High, King of Great Britain, France, and Ireland. Okay, first of all, King James was a brother. He was a Jew. Not a Jew you see today. He was a black man. He sat on 3 thrones at once. Yes. He's one of the last kings from what you call the Dark Ages. They call it dark because we ruled. They claim there was 1,000 years of history that they don't know what happened to this history. But they know that we ruled from 193 to about, to all the way up to like 1453. And the last brother that sat on the throne was King James. Him knowing what they were about to do, take down his empire, he had he had 70 translators get together to translate the book to English, knowing his people were about to speak a new language. Okay? Also, alright, when it comes to this, that's why they call, when the Western world resurged, or when the Europeans got back into power, they call it the Renaissance period. Renaissance means new birth. Why did they have to reborn anything if they were the people ruling? So with the Renaissance period, they brought forth their own ideology, their own gods, and they introduced the world to the presto magic, new Jesus Christ, Caesar Bozier. Okay? The new Jesus Christ, the Renaissance period. What they do? They took all the paint. They took their white paint and went into our records. Went into our art and started painting all the dark icons white. Renaissance period. Because before that, there was no doubt that all the Jews were black. All right? Now, why am I saying this with the Apocrypha? They took the Apocrypha out because the Apocrypha identified them hundreds of years. Over 1,000 years before they did this, it was written in the Apocrypha what they would do. So this book, this little red book, catch them red-handed. So they had to take this out before the real Jews read it. If you don't believe me, I'm going to give it to you right now. Then I'm going to show you hell out of this book. The truth of hell. I don't want to get too much off the beaten path, but we have people here that have never had some of this history. So I'm going to show you that it shows you in the Apocrypha them using their paint to paint all our records white. Yo, what's going on here? You all right? You got to keep it down, brother. Okay? Let me get it real quick, and I'm going to show you. And then they also use Bibles. This is how they got you. They get these big Bibles, almost bigger than this table I'm reading on. And when you open up the Bible, you would see all these white pictures drew by Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and all their artists. So here it is. It made you think that the people that you were reading about or that you've seen in the book were the people of the book. So they know children, and they didn't put this in for the adults, they put that in for the children. Because children wouldn't read the words. They would just look at all the pictures. They would just review the pictures. And as they grew and learned the book, they realized, okay, all the people of the Bible must be white. That's what they did. Was this written of? Let's see. Go to Wisdom of Solomon. Go to Maccabees 3 and 48. The book of Maccabees out of here. Maccabees 3 and 48. Read that.
First Maccabees 3 and 48. And laid open the book of the law.
Read the 47th verse and the 48th verse. Read it.
Verse 47. Then they fasted that day, and put on sackcloth, and cast ashes upon their heads, and rent their cloths, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
And this is what the Maccabees did. They laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their own images. So this wasn't the first time on this side they tried to put their image with our records. They did that in the past. Right? Painting their own images so that we can think that they are the people written of in the scriptures. Straight deception. Go to Second Maccabees. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 8. Wisdom of Solomon 14. Let's start the 8th verse.
Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 8. But that which is made with hands is cursed, as well as he that made it. He because he made it, and it because being corruptible it was called God.
So this was cursed, what they made. Read.
For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto the Most High.
Go ahead.
For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation.
So because they did this, there will be a visitation on the Gentiles. Christ is coming back to right this wrong. Read.
Because in the creature of the Most High they are become an abomination.
They are an abomination. They took the Most High's law and set it to the side. Or they say that now Christ will allow us to do anything we want. We're going to be evil and wicked, and through Christ's blood it's going to be okay. This came through the Catholic Church. Now they teaching us we can break all God's law. You can eat what you want, do what you want, because Christ died on the cross. That's madness. Read on.
And stumbling blocks to the souls of men,
Go ahead.
and a snare to the feet of the unwise.
Read on.
For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication.
When they started erecting their idols in the Roman Catholic Church, it became the beginning of spiritual fornication. Read.
And the invention of them, the corruption of life. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever.
Go ahead.
For by the vainglory of men they enter into the world.
For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world. Read.
And therefore shall they come shortly to an end.
Go ahead.
For a father afflicted with untimely mourning,
That's Rodrigo Bogier.
when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away.
He made an image of his child, soon taken away. Cesar Bogier. Now, mind you, this is about almost 1,000 years before they did this. It's written of in the Apocrypha, the Old Testament. Read.
Now honor him as a god,
Now they honored this guy's son as a god. Jesus is God. This was written about 1,000 years before they did it. Tell me our records are not exact. Our prophecies are not true. Read.
which was then a dead man.
Somebody wake this. Hey brother, you want to hit the bed out? Read on. He putting me to sleep. Read on.
Which was then a dead man. And
Hey brother, why don't you go throw some water on your face or something, man? Read on.
Which was then a dead man.
Go ahead.
And delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices.
He did what?
And delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices.
So ceremonies and sacrifices came with this guy. That's what came with him. Christmas, Easter, the sacrificing of children that happened at the Bohemian Grove came with the Catholic Church. So while you celebrating and thinking it's all good and about family, children are dying in fire. Read on.
Verse 16. Thus in the process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law.
So eventually, as time went on and you enslaved the earth, it's kept as a law now. You're telling us that our laws are done away with, but you can celebrate Christmas. You're telling me that the Sabbath is done away with, but you're celebrating Sunday as the Sabbath every day. You're cutting everything out where people can't work or anything. And you're making a Sunday, the worship of the sun, a Sabbath. But tell us that we can't follow our Sabbath. Read.
And graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings.
And the kings, by the commandments of kings, when they set up their little churches, they made the slaves, which were our people, worship their images. Look at the Boricua Taino Indian, the Puerto Rican, man. You would think they brought the Catholicism here. They do Catholicism better than the Europeans. Got images all over their house. You can't even walk in a house. You may knock something over and start a fire, man. So many candles and all types of stuff lit up in the place. This came from the Roman Catholic Church. And it was written of in the scripture before they did it. Read on.
Verse 17. Whom men could not honor in presence, because they dwelt afar off.
Why they couldn't honor him in presence? People couldn't honor him because they knew this dude was crazy. This guy had sex with his sister Lucretia. He was a notorious homosexual. Alright? Nasty homosexual. Let's get it straight. Had sex with his sister, killed his brother-in-law, the Duke of France, so that he could sleep with his sister. How can you put this guy up to be Christ? And they have him in a book called The Triptych of Poisoners. Why? He was the best-known poisoner during his time. Here's your Lord and Savior, North American Indian. Oh, you Negroes straight off the ship. Here's your God. I got some holidays for you too, Negroes. I have a Sabbath for you. It's called Sunday. Now, you have a choice, Negro. You can work 7 days a week, or you can get the Sunday off if you go worship our God. What you want, Negro? Huh? Read on.
They took the counterfeit of his visage.
They took his what?
They took the
1,000 years before they did it. I'm reading it. They took the counterfeit of his visage and did what?
from far, and made an express image of a king whom they honored.
They made an express image of a king they honored. Cesar Borgia. Okay, a Spaniard. Read.
To begin, that by this, their forwardness, that they might flatter him that was absent.
So what they did, they put him up to flatter the king. Now, did our people do this? Now, people want to say that, well, I'm making it a race thing. It became a race thing when they put this guy up. Here it is. You can claim to be the Jew. You can claim to be the people of God in the Bible. You can claim to be God himself in Jesus. But we're the ones pulling the race card when we expose you not. We didn't do this. Now that we found out that we're the actual people, now is, well, why it have to be about color? Where was that argument when the Catholic Church brought this homosexual over to be Christ? Now that we found out the truth, we're the problem. Oh, he must be in a cult because he don't believe Christ is white. Oh, he don't celebrate Christmas that the Catholic Church gave him. He must be in a cult. When the cult came over here on ships, it's called the Catholic Church. Okay? Read on.
That they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present.
Go ahead.
Also the singular diligence of the artificer.
The artificer, which is the artist, did do what?
Did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition.
This made more superstition. Okay? The ignorant, which means the unlearned. And guess what? They made our whole society ignorant. I see people walking around with this guy on their neck, on their shirts, tattooed to them. Don't you know this dude was a wicked guy? And I see guys with it tattooed. I'm like, yo, who that on your chest, brother? I'm like, you know what that brother did? That brother was a homosexual. That's like walking around with RuPaul on your chest. Come on, man. Read on.
Verse 19. For he, peradventure, willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the best fashion.
So back then, there was no moving pictures. So the artist was challenging who could make the best image of this guy to get paid by the king. Those pictures you see, the Mona Lisa, the Last Supper, all these, that was your movies for today, your moving pictures. That's why there's so much action, and when you look at the picture, you see something new each time. Okay? I know you have to leave now, right? Okay, well, just to bless you. I'm sorry. You can come. We're going to try to have it open for y'all tomorrow, okay?
Oh.
All right, bless you. We got another, let's see if we can get it all done in 30 minutes, all right?
Good night.
Bless you, sister. Good night. Y'all be careful, all right?
Yep.
Let's finish it up here. Okay, you got something nice and cushy for you now. He's good to go, right? Yeah, he's gone. Y'all ready? That's fine. Finish reading what you have.
Verse 20. And so the multitude, allured by the grace of the work, took him down for a god, which a little before was but honored as a man.
Now they took this dude as a god who was just a man over in Europe. Okay? Read.
And this was an occasion to deceive the whole
And
world.
this was an occasion to do what?
To deceive the whole world.
They deceived the whole world with this image. And not only with the image, there was a religion. A lot of you may take down the picture and say, well, I know he wasn't a white man, and put up a black guy. But then you will still keep the religion that came with the wickedness. You have to put the whole thing down. All of it down. Every religion that was brought over here by the Western world is evil. Every last one. All of it is. Every last one. Every church that's set up under the Western world is from Satan. Now, let's see if we can get through this thing real quick. Also, I wanted to show this, just since we're on this topic. Here's a book, Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. Nature Knows No Color Line. Okay? And in the book, it show you all the Israelites or black people that was ruling during the time of the Dark Ages. J.A. Rogers. As you can see, there's black people all on the coat of arms in ancient France. Okay? Okay? Here's something else people didn't know. Here is an actress of George VI of England. Queen Charlotte Sophia. Who is she? Why they don't teach us this in school? Okay? Why they don't teach us this in school? Huh? That's a sister, a queen that ruled in Europe. Okay? And black history here is a joke. Alright? Give me a break. They teach you about Harriet Tubman and peanuts. Y'all discovered the peanut. Come on, man. And now the peanut's killing people. Let's go into it. All right, let's go into it. Let's go into the lesson. We got a few minutes, right? Real quick.
You blame for that, right, brother?
Yeah, we take the blame for that too. Yeah. We're going to try to condense this and go into the origin of hell. Okay? You're going to find that hell was originally made to hold the angels that slept with women. Okay? So when the Most High made the earth, and we're going to go over creation again, the fire in the center of the earth ignited, or it would split, so that the ice could subside, so the waters can go into one place, and the earth could go into its place. All right? So it's true according to what they say about the ice age. It did happen, but it didn't happen 100 billion years ago. Okay? In the center of the earth there's fire, and there's caverns and caves in the center of the earth that the Lord had made for a future judgment. The first judgment was for the angels that came and slept with women. He needed a place to store them. Okay? Go to 2 Peter 2 and 4. 2 Peter 2 and 4. Let's go there. Get my annotated Apocrypha here. And we're going to let you know what happens in hell. What goes on as we speak in the place you call hell. Hold on. One moment.